Yo, yo, I'm back. Well, I haven't posted in a month. Well, if you can't tell, I'm on holiday. No, I am actually on sabbatical, really. I've broken down the progress bar into chunks because I think this video is better if instead of you watching the whole thing, you look at the list which will come up and you can click on whichever quote you resonate with or whichever quote you're the most curious about. Because I'd like for my videos to be informative for people to be motivated by, intrigued by, spur their curiosity. You don't need to watch the whole video because it is quite a long video for our attention spans, and I'll get into it. So this interaction took place in the summer of 2023 and it happens in a barber shop, unique. If you know, you know. And I'm there just waiting, it's my turn next, and I'm just bricking myself. I'm thinking, yo, it's a black barber, I've got straight hair, everyone around me's got curly hair, I'm gonna get cooked, he's not gonna know what to do with my hair. And I'm overthinking. I don't have a phone to occupy my mind with, so I'm just overthinking. I'm looking at all the photos around me, everyone's got curly hair, they're all black. I'm thinking, why have I even come here? Whilst I'm waiting, I see the guy next to me, he has his phone out and he's playing Candy Crush. And I'm in my social maxing era. It was just a phase of life. I was just trying to put myself out there more and more. I was thinking if I take this summer and I'm able to just socialize a bit more, I'd be more ready and more comfortable going to college. And it helped. But back to the story. So I thought, okay, let me talk to him. So when I looked at him, I go, my mom plays that game, And then he looks down at me, he goes, what? I'm like, shit, man. I go, my mom plays that game. And he's like, your mom played that game. What puzzles me is the fact that I look at him, I look up at him, and all I can see to myself is just, it's a white man with a white beard, with grey hair, blue eyes, and all I could hear was the sound of a Caribbean male. He ended up telling me his life story. He's just dropping lore after lore on me. I'm thinking, all right, I'm waiting, I might as well listen. He was born and raised in the Caribbean islands, which is pretty cool for a white guy. Then ended up working on a cruise ship, making supposedly, allegedly 6 figures a year at 21. I was calling cap, but I'm thinking, I'm not saying that to his face. And then he ended up working in sales after in his 30s or something. And now he's here talking to me while playing Candy Crush on his phone. Well, I'll move on to the first thing he told me. So he asked me, do you play sports? And I was a bit taken aback. I was a bit offended. I go, of course I do, yeah, I play football. And he goes, well, do you train? And I go, I used to. Now that I'm going to college, I can't. And then he looked at me deadpan and he said to me, don't ever, 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 ever say you can't do something. And when he said that to me, I felt a bit shocked. I was thinking, am I in trouble? The black customers around me looked at me like I said the N-word or something. So then he ended up telling me a bit more about his life story, which I don't know why he didn't say it earlier. But anyways, him and his friend were in a car crash at the age of 17. His friend passed away, but he survived. And he was in a vegetative state. The doctors told his mother that at the age of 17, he may or may not be able to walk again. He may or may not be able to sit upright again. And then 2 years later, miraculously, he was able to run again. He was able to swim, play rugby, football, hockey, cricket, all them sports again. Just 2 years later, after the doctors told his mother that he was in a vegetative state. And he told me, look, you have to remove all negative connotations to do with failure from your mind. You have to mentally brainwash yourself into believing you can do anything. You have to lie to yourself before reality does it for you. You cannot even think of the words shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, don't, won't. You can't think of those words. Those words are like bacteria to your mind, to your visions, to your goals. They're a plague, they're a virus, he told me. The first step of success is visualization. You have to mentally be able to understand, I can do this, I want to, and I will. And he said the first hurdle to accomplishing a goal is mentally believing you can do something. Because that, he told me, that's what separates the winners and the losers. The losers believe in doubts. They believe in plan Bs. He told me, if you believe you can do something, why on earth would you have a plan B? That was the first thing he told me. You have to mentally nuke all sorts of negative connotations out of your brain. And he asked me, oh, are you going to train then? And I go, yeah, of course. You've motivated me now. And he told me, don't run on motivation, run on discipline. And so he moved on to the second thing he told me, which was, you have to make a schedule which you can lean on. He told me you have to build a schedule which is easy to follow and a bit boring. Because when motivation runs out, eventually you'll burn out. You won't have anything to lean back on to help you stay on top of the goals or tasks you want to complete. And he told me, when you make the schedule, in turn you can create this sort of discipline where once motivation runs out, you can lean on the schedule. And when you feel the burnout, you can look at the schedule and realize, oh, okay, these are the tasks I need to complete. I'll complete them. I'll feel better about myself. And then I can move on with my day. 7 a.m., you wake up, you go for a run. You come back, you eat breakfast. Then you go to school. You learn, you come back. Then you eat again, you play sports again, you pray. Then you go sleep and you rinse and repeat. And so the schedule was just focused on eating, sleeping, studying, praying, sports. Eating, sleeping, studying, praying, sports. That's all it was. And he told me, look, if you can nail down this schedule, before you know it, you won't even have to look at the list you made. Your body will be in tune to be able to just wake up, do all the tasks, accomplish every single one of them, and before you know it, you're going back to sleep. Having worked out, having studied, having learned more, you've increased your mental capacity, your physical capacity, all due to just focusing on a simple schedule. The schedule is boring, right? You can only go on for so long until you mentally fatigue yourself through the mundane repetitiveness of the schedule. And so he told me, look, you have to say yes to things in life. You have to take the unknown route sometimes. He told me, the way you came to the barbershop, which way was it? Left or right? And I told him, right. He told me, go home left. It reminds me of the Britain's Got Talent joke.
Are you alright?
No, you're all left.
Yeah, give it the red buzzer, please. Go home the way you don't know the directions to. And I asked him why. And he goes to me, life happens in these pockets of uncertainties. I mean, you take the long way home, you're going to experience life. You're going to experience roads you've never walked on, trees you've never seen, people you've never talked to. And you'll expand your life that way. You'll expand the experiences you have that way. Instead of going home the same way. It's less scenic, it's more boring. He told me you have to say yes to things. Say yes to the person calling you. Answer the phone call, answer the text. Say yes to things. It's like that Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man, where he's tasked with saying yes to everything. Some things in life you shouldn't say yes to. But if you do, it's a story at the end of the day. It's another experience you can relay and you can share with other people. And he then moved on to asking me questions about college. So he asked me, what subjects are you taking? And I told him I'm taking biology, chemistry and psychology, which was my favorite. That's cool. Side note, look into neurology, neuroscience, science about the brain. He said to me, like, the neurons, that's interesting. And I told him, okay, I might learn about that in psychology, which I did in biopsych, which was the most boring topic, man. You're doing STEM subjects, right? And it's very systematic, it's orderly, it's a lot of content, a lot of knowledge on a certain aspect of science. And what he told me was, you're going to neglect the other part of your brain when you solely focus on biochem and psych. Pick up a hobby or an interest that fascinates you and maximize the amount of skillfulness you have in that trade. As an example, he told me, learn how to build roofs, which I wasn't going to do. That doesn't fascinate me. But for me, I looked into acting. I looked at theatre, I looked at auditions, I looked at plays. I met people that did acting. I did go to a couple auditions myself. And he brought it back to the brain. He goes to me, if you don't pick up certain interests or hobbies, we don't know the consequences of neglecting certain parts of your brain. You know, you're misfiring certain synapses, or you're not directing as much attention as you should to certain parts of your brain. At your age, especially 16, 17, 6, 7, physically you'll be good if you're doing, you know, the running, you're doing the football. That's going to get your motor skills developed even more. It's going to sharpen them even more. But then you're going to be emotionally lacking in certain aspects. And with that, he asked me, do you get along with your parents? And I said, of course, yeah, I do. And then he asked me, what about your grandparents? Do you talk to your grandparents? And then I replied, well, they're mostly dead. And he goes, that's not why I asked. And I replied, well, I don't talk to them because of a language barrier. And then he looked at me, deadpan again, and he goes to me, you need to learn how to listen. I've asked you one question and you've answered me in a totally different way. You know, if you're going to have conversations with people and you're not listening to them, how do you think that's going to make them feel? How do you think you're going to be able to carry conversations, carry relationships, strengthen relationships between people and with people if you're not able to even listen to them, which is the most basic of human skills? And when he said that to me, I went a bit red in the ears, you know. I was thinking, I came here for a haircut and now I'm just getting reprimanded by a white guy with a black accent. Another reason why I told you need to learn how to listen is when it comes to the grandparents, if you don't talk to them, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you came from? And you let me sit with that for a second, and I thought, wow, that's a hashtag deep, innit? Bloody hell. How do you know where you're going to carry your culture, your blood, your religion, your ideologies, your beliefs, your traditions, if you don't know where they came from, or if you don't know what your grandparents fought for, you know, the country they built, the country they lived in, all these traditions that they maintain or they created, if you don't know where they came from, how are you going to take it to your children? How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you came from? And it all stems from me not listening. While I was journaling about these quotes before I made this video, I had an idea that listening to someone intently and with care is the closest we'll get to time traveling. Because look, let's say 6 months ago, you had a conversation with someone and their favorite color came up. They told you that their favorite color is dark green because of some reason, they like forest or something. And then, let's say 6 months later to the present, favorite colors get brought up, and then you're able to just dig into the past 6 months ago, bring the fact that they like dark green and say it to them, to their face, say it in front of them. Imagine how heartwarming that gift is, to be able to think of something 6 months ago, remember it, not forget it, bring it back and tell them their favorite color is dark green because they like forests. Imagine how much love that person feels from you when you tell them that. Now I've told you the reasons why you should learn how to listen. You shouldn't dwell on the mistakes that you've been doing. You shouldn't dwell on the fact that you don't know how to listen. And you just kept rubbing it in for some reason. You need to forgive and forget. You need to not ruminate over the fact that you've made mistakes. Because we all do that, you know, when you're sitting on the bed trying to go to sleep, and all you can do is just think about the cringe moments in college or the cringe moments in school that you went through. And it's not letting you sleep, right? And you told me, look, the first time's a mistake, second time's on purpose, third time's a habit. And there's two ways you can take that quote. You know, you can take it intrinsically, and you can look at all these self-destructive habits that you have, and when you find the source, after becoming self-aware over these habits, you can begin to heal. You can begin the process of healing. You can then begin to dial back on the habits that you do. You know, why I do this certain action, why I keep saying that, why do I keep feeling this way? But if you're always a bitter person, if you're always saying snarky comments, or you're always angry, once you become self-aware and you find the source, you're able to cut back and you're able to become a better person, a more loving person. And another way is taking this quote and projecting it onto someone else, looking at someone else through the lens of this quote, where let's say a friend makes a mistake one time. It's a mistake. right? You forgive and forget. I don't forget, but I forgive, right? Or the second time, you're thinking, okay, alarm bells are ringing. Third time, it's clearly a habit. It's clearly a self-destructive tendency they have. And as a friend, or not even a friend, you might see someone carrying out these habits. They may not be able to control themselves. They may not have as much willpower or self-awareness as other people. If you look at their life through the lens of this quote, you can be able to help them. You can figure out ways to help the people. Because at the end of the day, we all need help. You need to forgive yourself about past mistakes. You can't ruminate. Because when you ruminate, you mentally wear yourself out to the point where you're going to live in the jail, which is the past mistakes of your life, which is another quote he said. And he told me, look, no ruminating, no overthinking, forgive and forget, you move on. That's how life carries on. That's how you carry on. And then he concluded with telling me that he doesn't believe in coincidences, that he believes everything happens for a reason and that everything is linked to one another. And the last sentence was the one that really intrigued and fascinated me, because when I was journaling before making this video, I was then able to find the thread between all the quotes he told me. And the way it goes is, let's say you have a goal, right? You have to mentally vision the fact that you're able to carry out this goal. You have to remove all negative connotations to do with not being able to carry out this goal. You have to say you can do it, you want to, you should, you could, you will. And so once you mentally conquer yourself with the idea that I can do this, you then have to physically carry out actions to bring this goal to life. You have to bring the lie to reality. And then you have to create a crutch. You have to lean on something. So you use your schedule, right? Because once motivation runs out, you have to lean on discipline. And the schedule is the means to lean on discipline. And then you're going to think life's mundane, life's boring, all right? So there's two ways you go about this. One, you pick up a hobby or an interest that you find fascinates you, and you go all out onto it. You have your schedule, then you have your hobby. That's one way to make it interesting. The second way, you say yes to everything. The teacher gives you an extracurriculum class, you go to it. The old man needs help with the bags, you go and help him. You say yes to all these things, right? That's the second way to make your life more fun and better. And because you're saying yes to all these experiences, you're not shutting down the door of life. You're going to naturally meet more people. And in doing so, you're going to learn how to listen. And when you learn how to listen, you will strengthen all the relationships you have, or the ones you're building. And in doing so, you can then talk to your grandparents, you can then talk to your uncles, your aunties, your siblings, your parents, and learn about the traditions and your culture. And then in the future, relay it to your own generation. You can take it to wherever you're going. When you're so busy with life, you won't have time to ruminate. When you're saying yes to all these things, you're going to come home, you're going to sleep like that. You're going to come home shattered. You're not going to have time to ruminate and overthink. And that's how you stop the cycle of overthinking and just mentally plaguing yourself with the ideas of your past cringe self. From one single barbershop interaction, he gave me a plethora of knowledge, an oasis of knowledge, which was a phrase that he told me in the interaction as well, a plethora of knowledge. And so what fascinates me the most is that all of this stemmed from me trying to put myself in awkward, uncomfortable situations, trying to just social max my life between the era of moving from secondary school to college. Just putting myself out there, being more social. So you've watched the video and you've clearly enjoyed it, but you're looking at the title thinking, why is it should have changed to get it as a life? Why is it not did? Well, it's because I didn't take any heed or action on any of the advice he gave me in that barbershop. When I left and he told me go home the opposite way, I didn't do that. I went home the same way I came, hooked on my PS4, ordered some takeaway, watched the movie, and then fell asleep. And then I rinsed and repeated that for the entirety of the summer. It was only until I started journaling I was able to take action and heed off of the advice he had given me. I hope you're able to take the advice that I'm giving you, that he gave me, and implement it somehow in your own life. Whether it's to break the ice more, to be more social with people, to create discipline within your life, to mentally conquer all those whims and desires of yourself first, before physically applying those actions to create goals. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. It's about whether you want to better yourself and take steps in the right direction. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you guys all again for the support on the previous YouTube video, the TikTok, the Instagram. You know, feel free to follow me on those platforms if you haven't. It's Scudetos on both platforms, same handle. Feel free to DM. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video real short.